Hi, this is Lisa from Question the Narrative. Great, good day to everybody and wishing everybody a good one. I'm here on it's St. Patty's Day, the 17th of March, and I'm here with Honey Golden. Honey, how are you?
Good. Not wearing green, but I'm doing good.
That's exactly. Normally I wear green all the time, but I got
Mhm.
to tell you, my purse is green. It has a green, but not the lucky emerald green. But I have an emerald, a small emerald in my ring. So I
Oh, I
hope
have
that
an
counts for a
emerald.
little
Yeah.
bit.
Okay.
Oh, so we're good. We're good. We've got the green. Happy St. Patty's Day to everybody. Wishing everybody a
Yes.
good one, kind of a thing. So we're already on the 17th of March, which means that we are mostly through this Mercury retrograde. Is that right, honey? Are we almost there?
Yeah, we're like at the end of the tornado. So it feels like the energies have been really crazy, lots of angst, lots of people affecting other people, lots of craziness in the outside world, but we haven't seen the big pop yet, of like, oh my God, everything just like imploded. We haven't seen that yet. And it's like this crazy looping, you know?
Yeah.
So it's been
Yeah.
really interesting.
But that's interesting that you're saying it's the looping on there. So energetically, we're in this looping stage where things are happening. So what are the things to watch out for energetically right now as we go through this final week, I think, of Mercury retrograde?
I would say people that are triggered around you, that's important because anybody who hasn't healed something, they're kind of looping and triggered. I would look out for people passing away. I feel like that is happening a
Mm,
lot right now, but going to increase quite a bit. And some of those will just be NPCs that are holographic and leaving, you know. There's just so much. I feel like we're getting ready to have a big pop in the world, and you would call that the tower moment or whatever. I feel like we're
mm,
quite close to that. We just had Jupiter come in, and the divine masculine is now getting kind of activated to awaken. And that may be causing problems, because they're probably feeling kind of emotionally unstable a little bit because when you awaken, it's like you're opening up old wounds a lot of times.
mm.
And I think that that's going to be happening. And there will be some childlike behavior from men who haven't been awake yet, who are just now starting to awaken in a much bigger way, especially if they're just awakening spiritually, because I
Mhm.
think it's the spiritual awakening that's now coming to the masculine. So it's a
Yeah.
lot. Like there's a lot going on.
Oh my goodness. Well, you said it all. And I think first of all, there's just like so many people are triggered on things. I mean, literally just on a call. And I'm just watching people who are normally very measured and easygoing. There are so many triggers and there's just a lot going on. You're right. Everything is opening up these wounds, and we're all exposed to either our own or our loved ones around us having those wounds being opened.
Yep.
And that's very interesting. Well, I was going to say too that I think also physically we're feeling it. I'm seeing a lot more people say that they have headaches. There's a lot
Mhm.
more colds, there's fevers, there's all sorts of things that physically where your body physically hurts. Can you say anything about what we all might be feeling physically during this time?
Yeah, so for me, it's just been exhaustion. Like there's a point where it's like, wow, it's not just me that's sleepy, it's like my whole body's tired. And it
Mm,
it doesn't happen all day long, but there's a point where it just kind of hit, yesterday and on Sunday. And Sunday we were changing timelines, so we were getting all of that crazy energy pushing and we were shifting into a higher timeline.
mm,
So
mm,
that's intense. The brain is upgrading. So we have a lot of drainage of toxins. So if you have a sore throat, if you have a stuffy nose, if you have a sinus headache, that's your brain detoxing.
mm,
So
mm,
that's going on
mm.
right now. Like there's so many crazy things going on.
Good.
I've had a lot of sinus headaches when I wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my throat is more dry than normal, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
at altitude, it's been pretty dry anyway,
Oh, well,
you know,
we in
just
Italy are
kind of
very
stuff.
jealous of you because we're constantly wet. So we're,
Yeah.
we're a little envious right there. But that's interesting. So the shift, so we did a timeline shift. You want to talk to us a little bit about what that was on Sunday?
It was a letting go. So it was a big like push from the universe to let go of a lot of our stuff. And not everybody let go of all the pieces, which, some of the people are revisiting their loop again. Um, so that's coming up and they're cranky, they're
Yeah.
really cranky right now because they're being pushed to finally let go. So that's happening. The higher timeline is, I mean, I think it's the golden age timeline. It's beautiful, but it's not easy yet, We're not
Yeah.
totally into the easier part, and we probably won't be for a couple of months, but that doesn't mean a lot of things aren't going to be happening very quickly.
Yeah.
And, but will it feel settled energetically right away? No, probably not till like May or June.
So this Mercury retrograde is giving us a lot of opportunity to recycle, to try to release and
Mhm.
done. We just had a big shift, and I can over on Sunday, which is interesting because I think I told you I had a an incident with my phone on
Yeah.
Saturday. I was going to drop it into my purse, and it missed, and it went right onto the stone floor and cracked the LCD screen. And in Italy, not so easy to find. So they could replace the screen, but the Apple program said, no, because you have a little crack in the back, we can't do it. And it'll take 2 weeks. Well, it turns out that life in Italy requires a telephone, meaning that I cannot use my bank without a two-factor authentication with my phone. I had my WhatsApp, which had everything on there, and that was a major, major issue. And I've learned, and I'm just giving this for everybody, anybody who uses WhatsApp, it's connected to your phone. If you're in an iOS system and you want to switch to an Android or Android to iOS, you will lose everything. So be careful before you switch. But it was fascinating. Was that part of letting go? Was there a lesson? Was it telling me something or telling us something about reliance on technology or something about Apple in particular, about their ecosystem and how closed it is?
I get it was a lot about Apple. So when you think about Apple, and I used to manage a major cell phone store, like one of the major brands, or major carriers, I guess is what you call it. But Apple always has been very closed, and everything you get has to be Apple if you have an iPhone. So basically, you're stuck with that whole system, if you want it to communicate with, your other stuff. And I don't use Apple because of that. And I always felt like I just can't do the things that I want to do with the Apple, processor and the way that they have everything locked in and you pay for everything. And yeah,
Absolutely.
you pay for every incremental thing that you do on there. And it's just crazy. And I don't feel like we're going to have that kind of a system in the future.
Mhm.
I also think that we're not going to have as much addiction to our, technology. We're not going to need it as much. And eventually it will not be as harmful either. Because, like,
Yeah.
I have stickers on everything for the EMF, is on every single thing. The TV, all the computers, the phones, and I carry two phones and I have three computers, and there's just so much stuff that you're dealing
Yeah.
with all the time.
Mhm.
And people have asked me questions like, uh, you're registering with lots of, EMF. And and I just flew. after that point. But I, was on a Zoom meeting with somebody that had technology that could tune into what was going on with your body. And I was like, wow. And she's
Mm.
like, that is not okay,
No, it's not
So,
okay.
yeah.
It's not okay. And what you just articulated though about the Apple system is essentially Apple makes it so convenient that when I pick up that phone, this phone basically says when I pick it up and I have to go get another one, all I have to do is restore from where it was before and everything is great. The same thing with the laptop. And I said, well, that was great because it used to take me days to change a new computer when I was on a PC version. So I was like, okay, this is super good. But essentially what it is the trade-off of convenience versus your freedom. And that to me, the reason I was asking the question before, is a metaphor for everything we're going through in life. So I got, I was lucky to find, because one of the other things too, which was very interesting, and I only share this to share sort of what's going on in the world. It is a bit of news that there were no iPhones available in Italy on this weekend. The main distributor in Italy did not get their allocation of iPhones since December. They've had 3 iPhones to sell in the country, and or at least in this region of Puglia, which they said, but they've got stores all over the place. So if they had them, they would have brought them from other parts of the country. So that was strange. So you can't have the access to it. And here you are stuck in an ecosystem because it was supposedly convenient. And then when I transferred over to an Android, so I got this Motorola phone for very inexpensive and has really great memory. And I thought, you know what? It's not so bad. It's actually very good. And just like what you're saying, it's like it was opening my eyes to moving out of the quote unquote convenience to maybe more freedom of what you're saying there.
Yeah. Well, and they're also the first ones that created the facial recognition. They've been trying out all the things that people have been screaming about for years. I mean, that was like 6, 7 years ago they did that.
Yeah. So Android doesn't. And I was looking up, like, how am I gonna do with this Motorola because it's a fingerprint? And they said, no, Android doesn't do it because they don't have the safety on it. Only Apple does. And I thought, well, really, isn't that interesting? But Apple also is now testing out a digital ID. So I'll ask the question here, honey, is this technology glitch that I have eye-opening for Apple trying to push the digital ID on those who use Apple?
Yes, I get it's not going to be the technology we go forward with. It'll be some kind of hybrid between the two technologies. And it feels like they have to be shown, like technology has to be shown for what it's doing, how
Mhm.
naughty it's been, how they've been spying on everybody. And I feel like they'll probably use Apple to do that. It'll be the
Mhm.
example. Yeah.
Right. So it's a little bit like this is very interesting. So Apple gets to be the poster child for the bad and the
Yeah.
technology, even though it was shown, it looked like it was the benevolent. It's so easy, it's consumer friendly,
Mhm.
convenience versus freedom. Let's put that into the as the overarching metaphor. But it also goes back to a story that we talked about before in our discussions, which is Anthropic versus open AI in the AI wars, which is now Anthropic looks like the good guys. They're playing in the role of the hero or the heroine is Anthropic for their founder saying we will not spy on people and we will not allow the government to use it as weaponry without human interaction. Versus OpenAI, who then came in and said, well, what, government, yeah, we're here to help you. We'll take over those contracts. So it's the same thing. So is Anthropic going to be the hero of the story in AI, the good AI? Are
No,
they
I
also going
get
to be
no.
bad AI? Mhm.
It'll just be seen as something that was used by the cabal, you know. And eventually they'll realize everything was used by the cabal. So let's say years and years and years ago, there was a lawsuit against Verizon. And that
Mhm.
lawsuit was that they were listening and recording everybody's phone calls, right? So it was extremely negative towards Verizon. And
Yeah.
they lost a lot of money. But AT&T was doing the same thing. So they didn't get sued. Verizon did. Verizon got sued because it was disclosure. And basically, they were all doing it because the government wanted that to be happening. So that was the
So,
NSA.
right. So
So,
everybody,
yeah,
yeah. So everybody's doing, so you're saying that everybody's doing it, but right now Anthropic is making this aware of this because this is disclosure.
yeah,
And that's good. So
yeah,
neither
it's
good nor
great.
bad. It goes back to the
Mhm.
intention of how we use. So the technology is not the good or the bad. It's the intentions of what we
It's the
use the technology
intention.
for.
Yeah. And I think that the NSA and that kind of system totally unallow, like it's going to be, you're not allowed to do that in the future. It
Yeah.
will be quantum tech, and nobody will be able to listen in on your conversations or get into your bank account or do any of that stuff anymore. Because they actually have had the dark web running behind everything else. There's not going to be a dark web anymore.
That's very good. Well, it's
Yeah.
very interesting. So I think my eyes have been more open about this convenience versus freedom trade-off and of being awareness of it. But I think you're right that it's all the technology and it's our intentions of how we use it. The truth is that they're all listening, they're all doing these things, but now it's about what are we going to do with it? It's the disclosure. So that brings us to the question about all of the disclosure that's coming out. It's pouring out in every way, shape, and form about pedophilia, child trafficking, the way that the money system is used, the control system of the banks, the way that how every corporation is used to be and it's controlled. And then our governmental political system, how it's controlled. Even the story about how Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, and how they were all, and that our politicians are the pawns of that. So, where are we with disclosure? Because we've had a lot of disclosure. When will we realize, when will the masses accept this disclosure?
Well, what I think they're doing is looking for the tower moment, you know? I feel like the masses, anybody that's going to awaken is beginning to awaken already at this point. They're more aware. And they might still be a liberal person, and mad at Trump or whatever, but they still are awake in other ways. And that's
Mm-hmm.
all that needs to happen. I mean, it's time to switch all this over. When will it happen? I don't know. It could be at the end of Mercury retrograde. It could be after Mercury retrograde. It feels very soon to me that we will have a tower moment, but it truly is up to us. And that's what I
Yeah.
always say. It's up to our consciousness. And I would just keep enjoying it, keep going, and keep allowing for the tower moment to happen. And don't attach your energy to, oh, I need it to happen. When is it going to happen? Because you're basically telling the universe that it hasn't happened yet. So you're not vibrating up to that timeline. But I think that last timeline shift was pretty big
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
that.
That sounds really interesting. I think that's
Mhm.
very true because there's so much more, and people are saying things that are really awakening, like they're more awake, which is like as they describe what Trump is doing, they're like, well, it's so ridiculous. It's a movie. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh. Oh, interesting. Yes, yes, yes. And so you just listen and you're like, yes, that's right. It is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
What a great movie it is. Yeah,
Mm.
it's a movie. Yeah, and all of that and just understanding how our systems are working. So that's very, very exciting. Well, let's
Mhm.
go into that because it is the disclosure, it's been out there, and really it's about a moment where you say, oh my gosh, that really
Yeah.
is accurate. It's not the conspiracy theory that we thought it
Mhm.
was. So exciting. Well, let's talk about something that's happening right now in America and actually around the world. Let's talk about air travel. So, America, bless our heart, we have had our trials and tribulations, and now we no longer have security, TSA agents to go through security in the airports, and no longer no global entry, no TSA pre-check. And now I'm hearing that many, many flights are being canceled over the past couple of days. What's
Mhm.
happening to air travel, and what's the reason for this right now in the
I feel
US?
like they're starting the lockdown, you know, like they're indicating for it. They're preloading the information that we're going
Mhm,
to go
mhm.
into lockdown. And what will lockdown really be?
Yeah.
I think it'll depend on where you live still. I still get that. And
Hmm.
where you live, if you're in a huge city, it's going to be more extreme, you know, as far as we need you to stay in your apartment. We need you to stay in your home for the next 3 to 9 days or something, you know.
So not a
Um,
terribly long time, you know.
no, not a terribly long time. And it just depends. And I think they'll probably gauge it depending on who runs around screaming in the streets, you
Mm,
know?
mhm, mhm.
And um, I don't feel like a lot of people that are awakened will, but also I think we will be asked to pay attention to something that they put on the news. I mean, they have to do arrests at some point, and
Mhm.
people are screaming for them. They're like, the whole world has been run by pedophiles, and why are they not in jail? Why are they getting away with all of this stuff?
Mm.
And you can see all of the chatter about Netanyahu being dead going on
Yes. Okay,
all
so let's
over the
ask about
place.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's ask about that. Well, because first of all, going back to the chatter about what it is, what did they say? The pedophiles running around. The joke at the Oscars this weekend was what you see now that there are no more British actors or actresses being nominated, and they said, well, we at least arrest our pedophiles,
Oh, that's not
meaning
gonna,
that
yeah. They're gonna
that was
all
like,
get arrested. Yeah.
yeah, there you
So
go. There you
that's, yeah.
go. But let's go into that. So let's go into what you just said. Is Netanyahu still alive in the character that he's playing, or did they kill him off in this movie?
I get he's not alive in the movie. The actor is
Oh.
gone. They don't intend to put him back in, and they're gonna reveal a lot of stuff because he's gone. And I think they'll also reveal things where there were meetings and what did that meeting really mean? Was Netanyahu really like kowtowing to Trump when he went to his house, or was he basically, trying to manipulate Trump? I think that will be seen as part of the operation, the
Hmm.
exposure of that, because it keeps coming in to my head. So that's going to be probably something that shows up because it was very weird anyway. And a lot of people paid attention to it. The arrests of Congress, the arrests around the world when it comes to a lot of the governments. It's going to be extreme. It's going to look extreme,
Yeah.
but it's
So
already done in the background.
right. So it's just the character. So Netanyahu's actor did not get a reestablishment of his contract. So his contract was expired and now he's gone. Okay, so we've got that. So we've got the US essentially the flight system really being stopped.
Yeah.
We're not staffing our airports anymore. So that's stopping. Then we also have as another international hub. So we've got a few international hubs for travel. We've got New York, we've got London, and we've got Dubai in there. Dubai, they just now said that the airport will be closed until the summer. So who made that decision and what's going on there? What is that one for?
It feels like there's something really icky that they're digging up over there. It's disclosure as well. Dubai's not going to be a big destination anymore. I'm getting like as a country, it's about to be expunged, is the word that comes in. So
Mm.
it's going to probably be taken over by another country, is what it feels like. There's some really yucky stuff that was going on, especially in those islands that were man-made. Um, yeah, there's underground stuff. There's a lot of weird stuff that was happening there. And also that thing they were going to build is that, I don't know if that was in the country of Dubai, but that mile-long city that they were
No,
going to
that
create.
that was not in the Mile Long City was not Dubai, but it's one of the other Emirates. I'll get the name of
Yeah,
it.
and that was going to be really negative as well.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So, that's why it was stopped basically because it's not being built now, I don't think. Or they've changed it
Stop.
tremendously. But yeah, it was going to basically be like a trap for the people that live there.
This was like a town that was going to be, yeah, this was a town that was going to be developed to be a 15-minute city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget the name of it as well, but that's that. You're absolutely right. There's another one. Oh, that's interesting. So that will be stopped. So you've got travel being stopped there. Then they talk about how, how they say that because no one can go through Dubai, which is where London goes through to get to Asia, Europe goes through to get to Asia, another destination for Europe, that it takes so much more fuel to go to other destinations now because you can't go through Dubai. And we all know that, well, not all of us, but we know that it is not, we can't put that much fuel into the jet wings. So they're blaming it on that. So they're artificially increasing the price of airline tickets. So what you're seeing here is from governmental, we've shut down the system in the US. Dubai, we've shut down access because you know what, you're getting bombed. So maybe we shouldn't fly in there anymore. And then in Europe, we're saying you can't afford it anymore because it takes too much jet fuel to go anywhere. What does this look like? Is this, as you said, is this going to be the lockdown? Who's doing it? And what do you think we should know about this now?
I mean, it's a combination of all of the military that are creating everything. So, I mean, they are based in the United States. I would say it's the Navy generally, but everybody has some part in it in every country. Their military has all been activated and they're all working together at this point. So, making it more expensive, making it harder, that's like the preloading still.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's going to be weird to travel in and out of a country for a while, feels like, but also it's a way for them to introduce new forms of travel pretty soon
Mm-hmm.
after. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, the trains could be introduced very quickly after.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, a lot of the financial system is ready to go. That's time to happen. And as the tower falls, they will have the golden parachute, the golden dome of the new financial system coming in for people so that we don't have like total drop in frequency.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really important. People need to know, oh, well, all this craziness going on and the government's being reorganized, but I'm fine. I have plenty of money. I don't need to worry about food. I don't need to worry about shelter. I can go buy a house now. My life is easier. And also, maybe I want to pay attention more to what's actually going on
Oh, that's
and
an
have a part
interesting.
in it. Yeah, because they'll have
That's
time for that too. People aren't
that's
going to
very
be,
interesting.
yeah, they won't be so stressed.
Honey, that's a really, really, wow, that really hits when you said that. People will
Mhm.
have time to participate in making certain their life is good.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. That's a goodie. Wow, 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 wow. Well, it's interesting that you're saying that maybe because of the airline system locking down, that there might open up the opportunity for the trains. I was listening to a woman on TikTok this morning, and TikTok has been funny because there's been a lot of old stuff on there, and then,
Mhm.
it's sort of breaking through a little bit. And this one woman was very interesting. She was basically saying, I don't know what you're thinking about, but this is the way I see it. We should be doing trains. Our energy system is up. And she laid out everything. And one of them was very clearly the train systems, and the trains will be working much faster than the airplanes, and it'll be much better for us. And the
Mhm.
fuel systems that we're using are different. So do you see right now that we will, because we're locked out of the airline system, are we closing it down for our alternative travel options?
I don't think it'll be completely closed, but it will be much less likely that you're going to be flying versus being on a train. I mean, you have to think about it too. Like the body is going to do much better on a train, even if you're going outrageously fast,
Mm-hmm.
because when you go up into altitude, you're pressurized. And I mean, a lot of people get sick after they fly. There's just a lot of like it's hard on the body itself to be flying
Hmm.
all the time. I don't think they'll have all those radiation machines in the future, as much that you have to walk through. And I don't think they'll have them on the trains either, really. Now, they might have a metal detector that you have to walk through, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't really feel like there's going to be that much need. The consciousness will be so much higher. And you also have to think about all the people that are leaving are the ones that can't vibrate into the 5D. So
Mm-hmm.
we're
Mm-hmm.
in the fifth density, but we're not practicing the fifth dimensional consciousness yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have to get into that mode. And the ones that are not willing to do that, they're not going.
Yeah.
They're not going. And that's
Very
okay. They're
true.
eternal.
Right. It's just transitions
Yeah.
about where you're expressing, whether in a physical body or
Yeah.
energetically, and where you want to be and what lessons and experiences that you want to have. So we're in this pre-phase where something shifted for us to travel. We are definitely seeing the US. So is the US first? Because what does the US need to know right now?
I feel like it's first just because Elon is here too. And also it's been the driver, but Russia is right there. And they may be the ones to introduce some of the things that come out because I feel like they've been using them for a long time. And they're
Mm,
being shown also to have been on the up and up, when it comes to Epstein and all that kind of stuff. And they quit allowing their children to be adopted to Americans because of Epstein. So it's a cleaned up country. And I think
mm,
it's going to be used as an example for a lot of what we do in the future. It
mm,
will not be the, total driver of anything, but it will be like kind of like the scholar, you know, a mentor for the world.
mm.
A lot of stuff will come from Russia, and that's great. And I think some people will move to Russia because they've created some kind of a program for that.
Didn't Edgar Casey say that Russia would save the world?
He may have, yeah, and I do agree with that. Like they've been really instrumental in helping with this, and they also got rid of the central bank, which is massive. And in the past, there would have been a
Mm.
war,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But the only war was to do with the Ukraine, and that's being exposed to what that was really about.
Mhm.
So it's there's going to be a lot of interaction with Russia. There will also end up being a lot of interaction with China. But the thing is Russia's already 5 steps ahead. They're ahead
Mm.
already.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So this thing, and that just leads to the question about pole shifting in weather patterns. So Russia has always been extremely cold. Are they going to be becoming temperate very soon? Is that the weather change there for them, or are we going to continue with sort of traditional weather patterns and gradually shift into something?
No, I don't think we're going to continue with traditional weather patterns at all. I feel like they're going to know that Greenland and Antarctica are screwing with the weather. And not to mention all the chemtrails. Like people are really mad about chemtrails at this point. And I think that's going to probably be written in that no one is allowed to spray. And I think people will have a really icky feeling in their body about planes for a while too, because a train isn't going to be spraying your food in your body because it's underground, right? So, you know, I mean, people are going to be a little more willing to take a train.
So
And flying cars, they'll be like, well, I'm not going to
but
spray
it won't be at such
anything.
a high altitude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we will have like, yeah, because the pole shifts, there are earth changes that are happening because we've shifted
Yeah.
from
But
pole,
if
how much of the change, or was that not real?
the pole shift isn't really real because the earth is so much bigger.
Mm-hmm,
So it's
mm-hmm.
not really real. It's have they shifted polarity? Yes. But it's
Okay.
between the technologies. It's not the earth that did it.
So that's good. So the technologies, and you said it's Greenland and Antarctica. And who implemented those technologies in both of those places?
The Greenland thing is really old, but they've been utilizing it. Antarctica, um, ever since they stopped allowing people down there, I feel like they've been doing a lot of stuff with that. But the weather patterns, the what do they call that? The way the tides go, that has switched.
Yeah, I forget that word too all of a sudden,
I
right?
know. All
The
of a sudden
currents,
it's like
ocean
gone.
currents, the
Ocean
currents.
currents. Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
So they've
thank you.
changed the ocean currents. And really, if you think about the ocean, it's Earth's movement that should be moving the ocean. But they're doing a lot of things artificially. They're making it more chaotic than it needs to be. And it should be more, I mean, what my higher self is saying right now is like a bathtub and
Mm,
pretty quiet, except for wind, if there is wind, but that's usually manufactured, a lot of it.
yes.
And also like movement of the animals within the ocean and the movement of the earth because she does move,
Mm-hmm.
she moves. The moon,
Mm,
the moon has nothing to do with it unless there's some sort of magnetics going on there.
interesting. No, it's really interesting you're
Yeah,
saying that. Yeah, about, and then that, because that, we know that was artificial. But it's interesting you're saying the animals are doing something. I've seen movements of animals that have really shifted right now.
mm,
So I'm seeing a lot more birds come into this
yeah,
region of Italy, really big flocks. In fact, I should post this. There's this amazing video I took of these flocks of birds just creating these beautiful shapes. And they all come together. And sometimes it looks like a canopy covering highways of like
wow.
mile and a half of birds coming together. So that's really interesting. But we were going, my partner and I were going to from from Italy to Greece on a ferry. And this is a ferry that trucks take all the time from like Brindisi or Bari to Aguvenista, which is the mainland of Greece. And in the bay in Bari, he saw dolphins, which are never in there. And on the way back, when we were coming from Greece, we also saw dolphins. What are those dolphins trying to say?
They're changing the frequency in Italy. They're shifting
Mm.
it. So it's Lemurian like ambassadors is what it feels like.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
also, because things have switched, it's kind of interrupting them a little bit too, as far as the currents go. But they're really there on mission. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
So, and
So
there's that
beautiful.
crazy dolphin story going around too. I don't know if you've heard about that.
I haven't. Tell
Some,
me.
yeah, some guy was supposedly kidnapped by dolphins and pulled down underneath, and he's like a builder, an engineer. He's brilliant. He graduated from MIT. He's like 30, right? And supposedly he was pulled down under and made to create some sort of like city structure for the dolphins. And he was spit out of the ocean, and they found a lot of stuff in his lungs that was consistent with his story.
Hmm.
But he was able to breathe underwater, and he was very sunburned, and he was like, out of it. But he kept saying this in the hospital. And I got yes, that it did happen. How did it happen exactly? It feels a little different than what he said, but they wanted the exposure really to
Mm.
come out. And I do think that underwater beings, keep getting talked about. And there's also a show about it that they come up and they're
Mm.
like ticked off that we're polluting the ocean and they're yelling at the government and all that stuff. And I think we will see something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, they're definitely the animals are picking up on things.
Yeah.
They're absolutely, and they're trying to tell us things. And I guess we should be listening because there seems to be a lot that they can share with us. But I love this story. This is great.
Yeah.
This is
It's
wonderful
crazy.
about the dolphins. It is. Oh my gosh. So one more sort of Earth related question. Do you remember the radon when there used to be, you check radon in your house?
Mhm.
Is radon naturally occurring?
I get it is. And I also get it's similar to radium.
Mm,
So something about them are connected, whether they're a similar rock that creates it or it might be the same thing. I'm not sure. But
hmm.
radium was really good for you. I
Super
feel
good.
like radon isn't bad for you at all, actually. But they
Okay.
create a huge stink about it because they don't want anybody to discover that it's good.
Benefits of it. Yeah. Okay. So like the radium, they don't want it to see
Yeah.
the positive side of it too. Yes. I'm seeing all these different things about that because I was hearing about radon down here and I thought, that's interesting. Why are they saying that? So is it natural or is it unnatural and is it beneficial, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Now, oh, by the way, the city that you were talking about is called The Line, and it's in Saudi Arabia. That's
Oh,
the one that
okay.
was up, and it was supposed to be billions and billions of dollars that they were going to invest into that city, building that city. And you're right, they stopped from that. They stopped the development of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So interesting. I think. All right, one more question before we go, because I got to wrap it up here. This year, we are just about a month away from tax season in the US. Tell me, are people going to have a change of heart on filing taxes this year in the US?
Yeah. I get yes. I mean, most people that are awake are gonna probably not do it, or they'll file an extension, or they'll do it in a really angry way, like they're really angry about it if they pay taxes. I think that that's been shown how negligent the tax money has been spent or given
Mhm.
away.
Mhm.
So people are really angry about it and they've kind of had it. And um, they're just not, most people are not going to do it. And we're not supposed to do it anyway, you know? So
Mm.
as far as some of the other things, I feel like they'll be a little bit slower. But when the government falls, like the federal falls, then the local stuff, state governments and stuff are going to start to be exposed as well. And
Yeah.
land taxes, I don't feel like property taxes will be as big of a deal. Those are going to start to go away, and people are going to be really angry about them because I don't think people have thought about it. I know our group has thought about it. You guys have thought about it in the audience, but what a scam. You buy your home and then you have to pay taxes on it forever, or else it gets taken away.
Mhm.
Ridiculous, ridiculous stuff.
Mhm.
And a
Yeah.
lot of those tax dollars are just being wasted. So I don't think that, putting tags on your car, getting your home taxed, or any of those weird little things that are taxed now will be going forward much longer. I
Yeah.
feel
We're
like
starting to
that's going
see
to
it
be,
sort of.
yeah.
No, we're starting to see like real estate taxes go away. Florida has proposed this.
Yeah.
They propose no more real estate taxes, and but they give an exemption. They say except for schooling. I think that's also going to be a major issue once people realize the education and how manipulative that's been. That's a really important one. And I don't know if you've seen this new show called The Madison. It's about a New York City family that is out in Montana, and it's a transition. And you watch these young girls repeat things that have been spoken about in this woke agenda that we've had, which are really, really just eye-opening to see like that's how we've educated our kids in our sort of urban areas. So it's very enlightening. Go watch it. I don't want to tell you more because then I'll give away what it is. And it's
Mhm.
a sort of new series on there. But it's a beautiful story about New Yorkers sort of going into Montana and transitioning their life. I think it's very, very relevant. But the tax season, I think, is going to be very eventful,
Yeah.
and I think awakening and beautiful.
Mhm.
So I'm loving that. So we can end it on that. And honey, if you have any last things to share, but because I know you do so many videos right now, so I don't want
Yeah.
to push into that. I think you had one thing that you said that there's coming out something about astrology that's coming out tonight. Maybe you want to say
Oh,
something
yeah.
about that.
So if you're really curious about the energies at the end of this Mercury retrograde and going into, you know, the solstice, I would watch, and I'll put it underneath the new thing that Kelly and I just did. And I mean, Kelly's brilliant and she's talking about all of the energies that are happening right now. And we're going into a major push again. So we've been in this kind of looping thing with Mercury retrograde, and that's what Mercury retrograde does, is it helps you refine and define what you're going to go forward with and what you won't. And once that ends, the fire horse is going to take over again in such a massive way. So it's a great show because I think the energies are going to be very intense pretty much the whole year, but the next few months, massive.
Very good. All right, so we'll
Yeah.
watch that. That's coming out today or
Yeah.
this week.
That'll be this afternoon. Yep.
All right, wonderful. All right, wonderful. Honey, thank you so much.
Thank
This was a really
you.
fun conversation. So a lot
Mhm.
going on here. So this is Lisa from Question the Narrative, wishing everybody a happy St. Patty's Day. Wear a tiny bit of green, even if you don't know what you're wearing, try to go look for something green, and wishing everybody a great day. Ciao.
Love you guys.